This time we're going to look at ways to create space, how artists create space in a work of art. One of the ways is through overlapping. So when you have figures that overlap one another or objects that overlap, that creates a sense of space. Also, placement, where you put your objects or people on the compositional plane will regulate where how the spatial relationships are created, and how the feeling of how close they are to us or how far away. This particular example is at eye level, so they're kind of even with us. They're not above us, they're not below us, they're right there at eye level. Warm and cool color juxtaposition. So you already know that cool colors tend to recede and warm colors tend to advance or come toward the viewer. The also relative size, again with this these figures or objects that are placed side by side, we see that as a spatial relationship in art. And converging parallels, where you have two strong diagonals that tend to become smaller. Okay, they're at an angle and there's a diminishing perspective. Let's take a look at this painting, Sunday Afternoon on the Island of the Grand Jatte by Georges Seurat. And you can see this in person in Chicago at the Chicago Art Institute. If you look at this painting, we're going to try to find spatial relationships. Okay, so how do we read the depth in the painting? Well, one way is that we know that there's a lot of people because we have very large people in the foreground, we have a distinct middle ground, and then a definite background. The people in the front are very large, the middle relative to the large people, they're smaller and smaller yet. And as the people and the objects get even further away, and depth in the painting, we see them as very small and minuscule, actually. Now, the Chicago Art Institute had a wonderful exhibit where they recreated this painting, and you could actually go inside of it and walk around in it. And so that's kind of fun to be able to even experience space in that way. Now, one of the things that was interesting about this painting also is that one thing it tells us about the people, the time period, what they did in their leisure activities. It also illustrates a certain technique called Pointillism. And as you know, when you that with the primary colors you can mix other colors. What Seurat did was to mix those colors right on the palette. So he would have a little tiny dot of red and a little dot of yellow, and eventually with so many dots it would turn into orange. Okay, so he did that, mixing colors right on the canvas. So that was kind of interesting. And an actual style, and that was called Pointillism.